Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 4 October 2024. Coming up, the Crusty Cat podcast. Oh, Karina, what's wrong with you? Oh, my goodness, episode 310. Some buffoonery that has been said in the House of Parliament in the past couple of days in regards to charter rights, Canadian rights, that is, and how criminals are being treated, all in the name of woke and progress and simple buffoonery. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Listener and viewer discretion will be advised because I will swear, I will smoke the odd cigarette, and I'll get really, really mad. So please, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast, episode 310. Oh, Karina, what's wrong with you? And this podcast is brought to you in part by and supported by the Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Stand 2, Veterans for Freedom. And then coming soon, hopefully, Veterans for Freedom TV, like-minded individuals such as myself and others, will be on this podcast network. We're still waiting for info, but please stand by. Hi, everybody. I'm Crusty Canuck. Hope you've had a good couple of days. Hope everything has been eventful for you. Weather is changing. It's getting a little cooler. Fall is coming. And yet our leaders still fail to perform. Oh, my goodness. Leaders just, saying stupid shit. What else can we say? What else can we do? Anyway, I'm going to cue up a video here from Rebel Media there. Just a reminder, too, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, share this podcast all over your social media platforms. Do not be shy. Be open, be honest. Give me a thumbs up, too, if you see this on the tube and on Rumble, and share. Give me a comment. Help the algorithm out. Help us Canucks get our words out there, too. And a special thank you out there to some people in China. I don't know where you're from, but apparently, according to my Podbean readout, I've had a couple of downloads from China. Interesting. Should I be worried? Should I be concerned? Or maybe there's some Chinese that like what I have to say. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I've had some more Americans download my show, too. I got to get another 50 out of California that have said hello. Thank you very much to my California fans out there, and a couple of people in Indiana, too. So thank you very much. And a couple of people in Germany. So guten Tag. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone who has downloaded the show thus far. And thank you to my new subscribers. So carrying on without getting so winded, this episode. Oh, Karina, what's wrong with you? So Karina Gould, Parliamentary House Secretary, has had her spiel in Parliament the past couple of days in regards to charter and rights and freedoms and all this bullshit. So I'll summarize what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been paying attention. The SDTC, sound it out. SDTC, basically, they're individuals that it was an office we put together many years ago to find sustainment, development, and technology of Canada. Basically, they get a lot of government money to innovate when it comes to sustainable energy. Now, what's been going on since July, the better part of June, actually, there's been a whistleblower that has said certain individuals have taken a lot of money, the sum of around $330 million to $400 million in basically lining their pockets of taxpayers' money to come up with these innovations. And there's some ties of Liberal insiders and friends of certain Liberal MPs, and basically just friends of the Liberal Party of Canada that have tried to, stifle and screw the Canadian taxpayer, all in the name of trying to innovate when basically they're just lining their pockets. So this whistleblower has come forward and in committee has been on it. And now the Conservatives put a motion into the Speaker stating that, okay, we don't want to do anything until we find out what's going on here. And the Speaker okayed it. So Parliament is on hold, basically, until next Wednesday. Okay. It's the 4th now. So, 6 days from now to the 10th to figure out what's going on. Basically, the Liberals have all these documents and they refuse to give them the RCMP to investigate even further. So basically, Liberals are screwing us, government screwing us. There's a lot of money to be questioned in here, where it's gone and what's it doing. Because it's not doing too much for the green scheme of things. It's not doing too much in the name of innovation. It's doing more to screw people. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cue a video up here that Tamara Ugolini from Rebel News put together. It's about 10 minutes long, so I'll interrupt once in a while to give my 2 cents worth, but I'll play that for you shortly to give you some insight on what's going on with this fiasco in Parliament. What gets me is that it's really, really rich how some of these Liberal cabinet ministers, these lifelong Liberals that have been in since 2015, that have talked about human rights and talked about the Charter of Rights, and yet they're the first ones to have violated rights in Canada as far as we speak. Okay? We all remember what happened during the pandemic, right? We all remember what happened during prior to the pandemic about wearing masks and gloves and working conditions. 1 minute, someone's saying we don't need gloves. The next minute, someone's saying we need masks. We don't need masks. And there was quite a bit of indecisive BS when it came to our public safety. And these ass clowns traveled freely. They had parties. They conglomerated. They did this. They did that. 1, 2, buckle my shoes, slap and tickle for the pickle, and everything else they wanted to do. While they're telling people like me and my wife, my family, my friends, and your 2 friends, and their 2 friends, and your 2 friends, and so on, that we cannot have family gatherings. We cannot go to work. We have to maintain 6 feet safety. All this BS, all in the name of the virtue. So there's more at stake here too. So what else? We'll clear up the video shortly. But I want you, my wonderful audience, to decide too. Okay? I want you to decide. Really think for yourselves in this, because there's still so many people in this country and so many people across the globe too, who think Justin's just a beautiful thing. He's just the best thing since sliced bread or kosher pickles, right? Anyway, that's what gets me with some of this celebrity worship and this hero worship. They're just people too, ladies and gentlemen. They fuck up too, like everybody else. And they're not impartial to laws, and they're not impartial to criticism. They're not impartial to speculation and being put on the spot by the media. Now you're seeing a little twist here. So I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, watch a little more MSM in regards to what's going on in Parliament. CPAC has a great channel. You can find him here on YouTube. Right? And just see how these guys operate back and forth when it comes to the House of Commons, House of the People. To my American friends, just a reminder too, we have a parliamentary system. So basically you have 340 people sitting in one big room, bantering back and forth, almost like Congress, but a little noisier and a little more anal. No pun. Knock on wood. Make a long story short, the shit's going to hit the fan sometime soon, ladies and gentlemen. So just make sure that everyone that you know and everyone that you voted for has got their fucking raincoat.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, episode 310 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Oh, Karina, what's wrong with you? Of course, the Liberal brand has always put criminals first. You look at Bill C5, C48, and C75. I believe I know there's a couple of bills out there still that are in the works in being easier on criminals, because we have this catch and release program that's been going on, that's been plaguing this country for the better part of a couple of years now, too. There's an individual in Toronto that actually was released on bail because he was a bad guy. He screwed his own bail conditions, and he was out again, re-released, and then he shot somebody, not undercover, but a plainclothes police officer right in the stomach. So it goes to show where the Liberals are sitting right here. Now, you'll see in this video how they're just squandering with the whole endeavor. They're just wasting people's time and just not really paying attention to a ball of their own shit, right? It's like total unaccountability, total disregard for the people out in the street. Okay. And when I look at breaking the law, if you commit a crime and it affects people financially, physically, then you're a criminal. Okay. If you're speeding or if you're jaywalking, okay, pay a ticket, whatever, carry on. Okay. But when you commit a crime in this country and you have to go to jail or go to trial to prove your innocence from going to jail, then there should be a justice system that looks after that, even if you're innocent, right? But I just find it really, really rich that Miss Gould has the gall to bring up the Charter of Rights and Freedoms when she stood by the federal government, with the federal government in February 14th, 2022, and promoted the EMA, which stifled assembly, stifled protests, waving the Canadian flag, right? Which basically put people in jail and took people's money, frozen bank accounts and all. So I'll queue up this video for you, and I want you, my wonderful audience, to decide. think about it yourselves and think about what Mr. Ugolini put together for this story. You know, it's just really, really sad how some of these individuals just really don't care about what they're doing. You know, thankfully we do have some conservatives that do care, right? But I think it's just a matter of time will tell if they care or not. But it's good to have a healthy opposition nonetheless. So as I said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys decide amongst yourselves which is good and which is bad. Here we go.
The parliamentary that Parliament's rules were broken in this Liberal cover-up. The House of Commons demanded these documents be sent to the RCMP so that the RCMP can determine whether or not there are criminal charges warranted because of this corruption. The government refused to comply with this long-standing power that Parliament has to hold governments to account. And by doing so, the Speaker has now ruled that all government business must be put aside until the House deals with this corruption motion.
It is beyond time to scrutinize what the captured Liberal government has been up to, and the House Speaker acknowledging that their corruption needs answering to is perhaps a glimmer of hope for this long overdue accountability. In addition to the Liberals' gross mismanagement of the 2020 flu outbreak and their disturbing manipulation tactics to force novel pharmaceutical products into the arms of every Canadian, the most recent discussions surrounding corruption in various committees and House of Commons affairs reveal that the government is increasingly prioritizing their own political and private interests over the well-being of Canadians, further eroding public trust and accountability.
After 9 years, Justin Trudeau has shown that he's not worth the cost or the corruption. The Speaker has just recently ruled that all House business, all government business must be put aside while members of Parliament consider Liberal corruption. First, we had the case of the Green Slush Fund, the SDTC Fund, where the Auditor General found over $330 million funneled to Liberal insiders' own businesses.
Yeah, $330 million given out to other members or other influencers.
She found massive conflicts of interest. Basically, these Liberal appointed board members who made the decision as to which companies got money, taxpayers' money, from this fund, were funneling that money to their own businesses or to the businesses of their close friends. So the Auditor General has blown the whistle on that, yet the government refuses to hand over the documents to the RCMP. The House of Commons passed a production order demanding that all documents, all information that the Auditor General uncovered, plus any documents that might exist in any government department related to this scandal, be handed over to the RCMP. The government is refusing, and as a result, the House will be seized with this corruption matter until they hand over the documents. And then we have the case of the other Randy, where a senior Trudeau minister is alleged to have been sitting around the cabinet table while also involved in his own business's affairs. His business partner was summoned before a committee and refused to disclose all the information, refused to name who the other Randy is, refused to hand over all the documents and answer the questions that were put to him. And as a result, the House is seized with that motion as well. So what we're saying today is that the government will not be able to, the House will be staying on these corruption matters until the Liberals hand over all the documents to the RCMP. While Canadians are suffering with the cost of living crisis that Justin Trudeau caused with his runaway inflation, while millions of Canadians are visiting a food bank for the first time and young Canadians are giving up on the dream of home ownership as housing costs have doubled under the NDP Liberal government, it's clear once again that the Liberals will always stop and enrich their friends while they impoverish Canadians.
That's a clip from earlier this week when Conservatives put forward 2 privilege motions in the House of Commons after House Speaker Greg Fergus acknowledged rampant Liberal corruption with Sustainable Development and Technology Canada, coupled with ethics infringing senior level Liberal MP, leading many to wonder if the $400 million funneled to Liberal owned companies involving 184 conflicts of interest, according to the Auditor General, is just the tip of the iceberg. Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer explained what all of this means.
So the Speaker has ruled that the parliamentary that Parliament's rules were broken in this Liberal cover-up. The House of Commons demanded these documents be sent to the RCMP so that the RCMP can determine whether or not there are criminal charges warranted because of this corruption. The government refused to comply with this long-standing power that Parliament has to hold governments to account. And by doing so, the Speaker has now ruled that all government business must be put aside until the House deals with this corruption motion. It's really up to the government to determine how long that will take. But it's clear that they're willing to go to extreme lengths to cover up their corruption, that they're willing to put the business of Parliament off to the side just to protect Liberal insiders. Liberal-friendly appointees to this board funneled money.
Yeah, that's the magic words, ladies and gentlemen. Liberal insiders, friends with benefits, all that good stuff. Ooh, it sounds like a real sexy date. Ooh, boy.
To their own companies. That's taxpayers' money. And while Canadians are paying higher carbon taxes, higher prices at the grocery store, higher mortgage costs with high interest rates, Liberal insiders stopped and enriched themselves. It's never been so good to be a Liberal insider. It's never been so tough to be a hardworking Canadian.
Yesterday, during question period, the Conservatives focused heavily on this breach of parliamentary rules, with Leader of the Opposition, Pierre Poilievre, calling them white-collar criminals.
Unable to work on the problem of doubling housing costs or 2 million people at the food bank because the government is refusing to respect your ruling to turn over evidence in the criminal investigation of the latest Liberal scandal. At issue is that Liberal appointees directed $400 million to companies they own involving 184 conflicts of interest, according to the Auditor General. Why is the Prime Minister breaking your ruling to cover up?
Okay, 184 conflicts of interest. Think about that. 184 situations in regards to $400 million going around, gone. Way to go, Liberal Party. Wankers.
Criminal evidence in the latest Liberal scandal. No surprise that Liberals believe that white-collar criminals can hand over $400 million to their own companies, because we see the case of the dirtbag Tibor Organo, who shot a police officer in the stomach yesterday while he was out on bail after having been arrested for 24 offenses he committed while he was out on probation. So let's get this straight. He's out on probation for many crimes. He gets arrested for violating probation, so he gets released on bail and shoots a police officer. When will this government finally accept that their hug-a-thug, catch-and-release system is putting our people at risk?
Later, Scheer snapped back at the Liberal House Leader MP Karina Gould for trying to skew the idea that this suspends Canadians' charter rights. Well, if we remember, her government forms multiple fringe minority coalitions to overrule everything in the House, unconstitutionally invoked the Emergencies Act in 2022 to deploy military tactics against peacefully protesting Canadians.
Yeah, you can see right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's from February, back in Ottawa, 2022. Okay. How many charter rights violations did you see right there? Disrupting the crowd, breaking up the protest, what have you. Now, how many protests do we have in Canada since then in regards to what was going on in Israel with Hamas and Hezbollah? What's been going on when it comes to the alphabet folk, the QIA, blah, 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 when it comes to how they want to harm children in the name of wokeness and affirmation? Think about that. See the contrast here, ladies and gentlemen. They're all full of crap.
Seizing bank accounts without due process, a court ruling that their government will likely spend millions trying to overturn, then goes so far as to gaslight Scheer as displaying erratic and unhinged behavior.
After 9 years of NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, time's up, and corruption is way up. Here's what we know so far. The Liberals stacked the SDTC board with their close friends. That board makes decisions as to which companies get grants worth millions in tax dollars. The Auditor General uncovered a massive scandal. These Liberal insiders funneled almost $400 million to their own companies. They got rich, taxpayers got the bill. Now the government's refusing to hand over the documents to the RCMP for a potential criminal investigation. So what have they got to hide?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, again, the House Leader for the Conservatives is completely false in what he is stating in this place. What is true is that the Conservatives have put forward a motion that would blur the lines between the independence of the legislative and judicial branches of government. It is both the RCMP and the Auditor General who have raised their extreme concern with what the Conservatives have put forward. Every Canadian should be concerned about the fact that the first instinct of Conservatives is to suspend the charter rights of Canadians.
Oh, wow. You hear that, folks? Well, from Karina Gould herself. She was one of the first agreeers, one of the first individuals that agreed to the EMA. And she has the audacity to talk about charter rights. Whew. God, crack doesn't smoke itself, eh?
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
The charter is there to protect the people from the government, not to protect the government from accountability by the people. While millions of Canadians are suffering from higher taxes, higher prices, and doubled housing costs, all caused by this government, the Speaker has ordered that the House of Commons can deal with no other business until this corruption motion is dealt with, and they still won't hand over the documents, preferring that Parliament grind to a halt. While millions of Canadians are lining up for food banks, Liberal insiders are lining their own pockets. So when will the government hand over the documents, and when will the government get Canadians their tax dollars back?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, I think my honourable colleague's erratic and unhinged behaviour is because he knows that he is being completely false in what he is putting forward to this place.
Breaking parliamentary rules and covering up corruption by filibustering disclosure of documents is on par with Liberal conduct over the last 9 years. From the Aga Khan vacation that violated conflict of interest rules to Trudeau's embarrassing costume fiasco during his trip to India, the Prime Minister has found himself in hot water on more than one occasion. Trudeau's wearing of blackface, his alleged groping incident, and his love of China's basic dictatorship all reveal a disturbing pattern of behavior that underscores a troubling lack of moral compass. There was also the SNC-Lavalin scandal, the We Charity scandal, to various conflicts of interest in between. Now, Parliament will have to suspend the timeline on all other government matters until those documents are handed over to the RCMP in what is even more disgraceful conduct by the scandal-plagued yet immune from accountability Justin Trudeau-led Liberal government. Trudeau and his government's ongoing disregard for ethics and accountability continue to undermine Canadian values and embarrass us on the world stage. The integrity and accountability of these supposed leaders have never been under more scrutiny, and it's high time that they are held accountable for their actions. Canadians deserve leaders who prioritize honesty and transparency over political expedience and must demand the truth and stand up against the empty rhetoric that has become all too commonplace in our political landscape. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini.
That was Tamara Ugolini, ladies and gentlemen, from Rebel Media, Rebel News there. A very, very independent news program, news outlet here in Canada. I know there's some Americans out there that watch it once in a while. They have one in Australia. They've got some American correspondents, and they actually have a couple of Brits, as far as I know, that work out of Britain. But it's self-explanatory, ladies and gentlemen. We got a government that refuses to be accountable. We've got people in Parliament that really don't care about what they're doing. Right now, I had a video queued up there of Patty Haydu, the former health minister, getting really, really upset because Pierre Poilievre said, or called, that criminal in Toronto who shot that police officer, a dirtbag. I didn't queue it up, but it's out there online. If you want to see it. But I'll leave all this information in my description below. I'll be right back after this.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, episode 310. Oh, Karina, what's wrong with you? Now, you caught what Pierre Poilievre said about the hug a thug and all that good stuff. We're seeing a lot in Canada, and I'm sure my friends in the States are seeing quite a bit too. If you got any comments or queries, please give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, give me a like or whatever, and just let me know what's on your mind. Please comment on this podcast any way you can. Help the algorithm out, help us connect, get our words out there timely and effectively. Like here, you click like subscribe, share this all over your social media platforms. And to my YouTubers out there, please double check your subscription notifications. Make sure your bell is on. I know the tube has been kind of cutting people out of certain podcasts, out of certain video format too. So just double check to see if you're still subscribed. And once again, thank you out there to my new subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. You guys rock and roll. Make my life even much better. And my apologies. Last episode, I did put a couple of songs up in my description there too. I picked Leonard Cohen, A Bunch of Lonesome Heroes, because it reminds me of my brothers and sisters back in the military. And it was kind of cool, kind of nostalgic too. And one of Canada's, I think, one of Canada's best songwriters that ever existed, next to Gordon Lightfoot, next to Newport, all that good stuff. And I also picked Rush's song Warpaint from their Presto album of 1989. It basically depicts vanity and how a lot of us are stuck in vanity now. We're all stuck in that rut when it comes to how things look rather than how things are. So those are the two songs from my last episode. There's the moment. And I'll put another two tracks there in my description for you guys to listen to it in leisure. It's just some good Canadian music, Canadian podcast for my Canadian audience and everybody else who wants to see some Canadian. Yeah. All that good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on this episode. So we've seen the buffoonery bestowed on us. We've seen the idiocy that has been going on in our parliament, especially when it comes to having to stop all political business, all bills, all this to get to the bottom of this conspiracy. Now, we've had numerous conspiracies before, as Ms. Ugolini from Rebel News put together for you. The whole we factor, the whole blackface thing, how Justin Trudeau a few years back was dancing around like some kind of Bollywood actor, making a fool of us, embarrassing us Canadians. Now, what I don't understand is how anybody in their right mind, I don't care if you're liberal, conservative, NDP, Bloc, independent, green, whatever. If you're elected to parliament, you should be standing for the right thing. But when I see those liberals talk all this crap, are they really representing their constituents? Do the constituents in each one of their ridings agrees with what they're doing? Honestly, think about it. Now, I'll call on any politician that's representing me. In fact, I am going to write an email to our representative here, obviously conservatives. I've met him. I've debated with him. We ran the same campaign together in 2021 when I was running for the Veterans Coalition Party. Right? We had some good talks. We shared a couple of cups of coffee, jokes with his wife, his kids. He's a good man. Well, I want to know what's going on with this. And I might dedicate an episode to this Bill C-293 they're talking about. It's supposed to be the whole pandemic issue dealing with food and agriculture. So that'll be coming up in a future episode. But I want to know what you think. Please give me likes, comments, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Help the algorithm. Help us connect, get our words out there before Bill 263 becomes an unnecessary and unfair, nasty reality. And wonderful people like you to make that happen too. If you want to donate, please consider donating too. All the links are in the description as well. Special thank you out there to my friend Paul, who's making it too. You might know him. He's Radio Reaction. He does a great job. He's got a great channel. My friends in North Perspective, they've got a great series on their channel in regards to the SDTC. Yeah, big words, Crusty. Anyway, check it out yourselves. I'll leave links to their work and I'll leave links to Paul's work too. So don't be shy, ladies. Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck. 4th of October. Good things for you all out there. Trying to do your best to be kind to a few people. If you can't be kind to a lot of people, then try to be kind to a few people. I'm not saying buy the delusions or buy this or buy that. I'm just saying kind gestures. Opening up a door, buying a cup of coffee if you're in line at Tim Hortons or Starbucks or whatever. Just try to be decent. That's all I'm asking. We will find the light in this manufactured darkness. There will be clear skies coming. I feel it in my fiber, and just try to be decent people. Best you can. Help a friend out, help a neighbor. And don't forget to help yourself out. You need to take the time out just to get your thoughts together and clear your head. By all means, do it. Keep creating, keep being, keep working, keep being a good father, keep being a good mother, keep being a good lover, whatever. That's my kumbaya moment. Like I say, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can in these trying times to keep your head above water and to be good to people. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
My brothers and sisters, who